What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we are going to be going over a deck profile for all of you guys. Well, just not any deck profiles, but Latam's Ultimate Cup top 8 deck profiles. So these will be at least a way of understanding what you can expect for Ultimate Cups going forwards in this format for the month of December. So without further ado, let's dive in the video, see what decks are topping and what decks are kind of just kicking butt. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Boom. So guys, starting off, we can tell that Digi Police, aka Latam Brigade, is already sitting at 50% of the top 8. So 4 decks taken up by Digi Police itself. Then you had at least 25% going toward Greymon, 1 Gammamon, 1 Jellymon. Once I have all the top 16 report, I'll add that to the end of into this chart. You guys will be able to pull it up because I'll have a link on it, so you'll see it in a later video what the total top 16 was. But we're just going to talk about the top 8 for right now. So let's take a look at what the top 8 looked like. As we can see, we have first was a Digi Police, second place was Digi Police, fourth place was Digi Police, and 8th place was Digi Police. So kind of showing how strong this deck is. And let's be honest, a format without Crimson Blaze, a format without Death Axe, without Quartzmon, things that punish wide boards aren't in this format, and this just means Digi Police gets to run rampant. This should have been one of those things that you just don't let Death Axe not be in a format like this. At least people would have been able to counter these wide strategies. It's kind of interesting. You see War Greymon is a more complete deck. You see Digi Police as more of a complete deck. And then you have Gamma and Jelly that are both complete decks as well themselves. They are pretty decently able to hold their own. So let's take a look at what the breakdown and what the decks look like. First off, we do have the first place, and that's vitally important just to take a look. Let's see what kind of spice they had going for it. So if you look at it, Mishimon is kind of just what the default egg is going to be in for all these D-Bleeps decks. Both of these Commandramons are going to be definitely in there at a full playset. Numemon is a playset in all the decks. High Commandramon, the same thing. Cargrodramon, Brigadramon. This is where it kind of starts being its own thing with defensive trainings and Satskis. They're kind of just in whatever ratios they want to have it in. But decks are playing Dorumon because it is allowed. If they hit it in security, this thing pops out. It's not a... well... you get a possibility of playing a 4-cross, which could be a high Commandramon, which is not bad, or a Numemon, which can lead to being some good combos there. I mean, it's not bad, and then this card gets added to your hand to Digivolve in. That's not bad at all. Then you have Agumon here that basically says if your opponent has a Digimon, gain a memory, and then when an attack target switch, gain a memory. That's kind of vitally important. You have Numemon, High Commandress, Shademon, Cargos. Vademon is kind of like the spicy tech that is the ultimate that you want to use. Because of Vademon's being able to, your opponent reveals the top 3 cards of their deck, you digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon for each Digimon card among them, return the revealed cards to the top of the or bottom of the deck, basically manipulating the board state of what they're going to be drawing. Preventing them from getting good cards is really huge. Then you have like Diaboromon Ace, War Greymon Ace, which is not terrible for aces, especially if you have Vademon on board. Being able to digivolve on top of them is really solid. DCG Bomb is just being able to digivolve any of the aces that you come across or any threats and try to just pop any play cost 6 or less. Ultimate Flare is just to help control board state. Trident Arm to force swings, especially if you have a blocker on board with your Numemon and Heritable. You can shut down a turn because they're forced to attack when they're not really ready to. You know, defensive trainings and Black Memboost. You know, the deck's going to do what it wants to do. It's going to build a wide board, swarm out, and your opponent has to answer it within a timely fashion. And as you're going to see, most decks can't do anything about it because they can't control a wide board. So, in second place deck, let's take a look here. I like the tech of Chumon because Chumon at least gives it so your opponent can't gain memory except with Tamers, preventing them from using your Black Memboost very optimally. So, or Agumons in these situations, you know, all these good stuff really can prevent your opponent from going off. Like I said, Vademon's in here, Cargrodramon, You know, War Greymon Ace at a full plate at 2. You know, DCG Bomb. Then you have Ultimate Flare. You know, defensive trainings. All good stuff. All good stuff. Then we're getting into War Greymon territory. So let's see what War Greymon's got going for it. So, as you can see, it's going to use basically any of the good Agumons. You have the one from BT14. You have the reprint booster, which is promo Agumon, just for the inheritable plus 2000 DP. You have the Agumon here, that's just basically your searcher. Luckily, we have access to that. Then you have the Koromon for drawing. You know, you use the starter deck 15 Metal Greymon for the extra security check. And then you have Metal Greymon Ace to help just be the only option you have for another Metal Greymon that's not really too costly. That's what, in my opinion, you have the extra DP boost one, but that's just way too expensive. You know, you have Greymon for the extra security check, pushing damage. Greymon that plays a Tamer tie of 3 costs, so you'll play this tie. You know, gaining a memory, and then, you know, start a main phase. One of your Digimon with Vaccine and Traits gets plus 2000 DP. Just all good stuff here. And then the War Greymon to be able to warp and get back into the game. It's just vitally important to take these into striding steps just because of how the deck plays. And it's going to do what it wants to do. It's very unimpeded in challenges because of the power it has. You know, the problem comes down to there's just no really blocker in the deck. So basically, if your opponent just goes at it, they're going to go at it. Your only way of controlling the board is swinging in on your turn and using Raid War Greymon to just kind of just clear house. A little bit of a problem that way, and I think that's really... The deck's good, it's going to be solid, but it does have its weaknesses at the end of the day. Then we're back into Uka version of Digi Police. So if you guys don't know what Ukamon does by now, Ukamon is crazy good. So if we can sort this, you know, we're having Ukamon here being able to one of your Digimon moves from the breeding area to battle area. You may hatch it in the breeding area and then gain 1 memory. So Ukamon's just helping speed tempo of your Digi-Eggs. And that's not bad. Ukamon's just going to be Ukamon things. I love the Omnimon Zawart, so you can get 2 Cargo Dramons out. Really make your opponent have a bad day. You know, War Greymon Ace, Brigade Dramon, all good stuff. You have Ultimate Flares, DCZ Bomb, Black Men Boost, and Defensive Trainings at a full playset, which is kind of nutty to me. 2 Izzies. Yeah, the deck is just straight up trying to be, I'm faster than you and swarm the board. There's not many ways of controlling the board in this format besides Ultimate Flare. And if you're not playing black, you can't really play Ultimate Flare consistently. So, yeah, that's kind of what your big problems are. Then we're back at the War Greymon grind. So, let's take a look at the War Greymon grind here. So, Koromons, Agumon. Like I said, they're just going to play this. The Greymon that gets to play a tie for free, so it's just beneficial here if you don't have a tie. You know, Metal Greymon for the extra security check. Here's the other Metal Greymon that gets plus 3000 DP. Or when attacking, you can attack and hit it for 3 security, but you're going to give them 5. I mean, that's a possibility. You know, War Greymon just being stuff. Mega Flare, really interesting. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less. And if you have a Digimon with Greymon in its name, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP instead. So, really solid. Can very much deal with a lot of threats. So, it just helps with curve, but the deck still has its older line weakness. It just can't handle wide boards. You can use Metal Greymon Ace, but if they pop your thing before you're going at it, that's your downfall. Well, the deck has its potential, and it shows that it can win. And Nagunimon for hybrid shenanigans is always good. Now, let's get into Gammamon here. Gammamon's quite interesting, in my opinion. Being able to have this deck be able to compete at this level, I mean, yeah, a lot of nerfing basically allows it to be able to do this, but you know, we have a Arctorius plus Siriusmon going into Paroxymon that basically when another Digimon is deleted, you may play a level 4 or lower, you know, from Gammamon its name from trash without paying its cost, and then end a turn by placing 1 Digimon card with Gammamon as text from your hand or trash. As a bottom Digi-Evolution, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a DP less than or equal to this Digimon's DP. Really solid. I love the red training and offensive training is in red mem boost and offensive training is in here. You have plenty of red targets to hit, but you can't rely on them consistently because you Digivolve on weird colors. So offensive training is never really beneficial, but red mem boost is at least decent enough if you hit a right target. You know, the deck has a lot of potential, and I think there's nothing really to fear because there's no Tamer hate. But, you know, having a Arctorius when one of your opponent's Digimon is deleted, if you have Gammamon, if this Digimon has Gammamon in its text, trash the top card of opponent's security stack. Free security trashing is really good, but we'll have to see if it continues to be really solid if in the rest of the season, but we'll see. Then we have Jellymon Strip Source Funzy deck. Well, Jellymon has a lot of potential, let's be honest here. So we have Ikakumon being able to trash any 2 Digi evolution from your opponent's Digimon. You know, Gammamon here making it so they can't be blocked. Like there's any blockers in here besides, you know, D Brigade. And, you know, you have Amphimons. You may trash up to 2 blue Digimon cards in your hand for each one trash. Trash any number of opponent's Digimon with and/or Tamers. Then return one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digi evolution to the bottom of the deck. And then all turns when one of your blue Digimon would be deleted by returning 3 Jellymon in its text from your trash to the bottom of the deck in any order. Prevent its deletion. Really solid to make it so if they're going to remove it, it's not bad. And then you have Amphimon promo that says when an opponent's Digimon attacks by returning 3 cards, end the attack with Jellymon in its text. And then basically when Digivolving trash 3 cards from your hand for each one, you may trash any number 1 of under your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, then until the end of your opponent's turn. One of their Digimon or Tamers without cards underneath it cannot suspend. So locking down is really solid, but you know, Zudo Ace just to help bounce things after you stripped a lot of sources out. You know, you have Thysismon being able to help conduct stuff and being able to unsuspend. You know, the requirement of having 3 Jellymon and you're just hoping to just draw Sora and Joe kind of just help remove sources and protection skills off so you can just deal some major damage. And the Koshiro just being able to, if your hand's 7 or less, which is going to happen a lot, just being able to gain him a draw 1, and then when this Tamer becomes unsuspended, gain a memory. Really solid just to keep going at it like that. But deck's going to do what the deck wants to do. And then finally, the last D Brigade on the list, boys and girls. Hopefully you've been enjoying this video so far. What deck are you guys going to play for Ultimate Cup? But we have Mishimon, Commandramon, Numemon, High Commandramon, Cargomon, Vademon, Brigadramon. We kind of knew this was going to happen. You know, similar to the first list. You know, has the DCG ulti flares, Trident arms. You know, it's very similar, except it plays Tai Kamiya in here so that they get a draw and the plus 2000 DP can really help out when attack target is switched. So it's all solid here. I have no objections. I really don't. Minus the Shademon, they put Tai in. So I think this is really solid of a way of getting a good concept of how D Brigade's going to play. And you guys, congrats on playing well in your online Ulti Cup. Guys, hopefully you guys keep it strong and keep pushing forwards. So guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace!